Hey everyone, it's Monday, April 18th, April 17th, 2017, and it's time to go to work on music. This has been a really difficult week, mostly just because I got really, really sick last week, and I've just spent the last few days recovering. I figured I would try to just knock it out and get back to 100% health as quickly as possible rather than like pushing myself and possibly stretching out the illness for like longer than it needed to be. I don't know if that was the right approach in retrospect, but I think it worked out well because I didn't have a lot of stuff scheduled the last few days besides things that are flexible in terms of scheduling, like my music practice. So it's definitely been a huge bummer not being able to work and feeling really limited on the music front. Today is going to be like my first legit practice session in about 5 days, and it's probably been at least a couple years since I went that long without really putting in some hardcore sessions. But you know, it happens, and I was talking with a friend, and I just realized setbacks are just part of success, and I think it's good to embrace them when they come and just realize like it's symptomatic of how much I've been pushing myself and how much effort I've been putting in that I really, really notice it when I'm not doing that. And it's also, I think, a good sign that I'm on the right path with my life and what I'm doing with my time, that I really miss that time spent working. So I'm definitely excited, but also a little nervous to get back into playing today. I don't want to push myself too hard and get sick again, and at the same time, like I'm really anxious to get back in the groove. So I'm going to take a middle ground approach and just have a lighter practice session, but still make sure I get some work done. I'll update you guys on what I do and just talk you through the session, kind of what I'm thinking and how I try to organize my mental approach and physical approach to practice. Today, I think, is going to be a drum day. I'm going to do some online classes. We're going to work on some foot control, and then I'm going to get back in on the production front on this track I haven't touched in a week now, but you know that's just how it goes, and I'm just going to move the needle forward on that. I've got a good horn library sound dialed in. If you guys have been following along, then you know that took a while to get, but now I'm at the place where I can really start to move forward with this track, so I'm really excited. I don't have a ton of energy, hopefully for obvious reasons, but I'm actually feeling remarkably good, especially considering how I've been feeling the last few days. So let's get it. All right. Kind of a weird online learning session there. I was learning about where piano rolls come from, which I think is kind of obvious, player pianos, but then I was learning a little bit about the music of Conlon Nankoro, and this guy made a bunch of music for player pianos that was like pretty much impossible for humans to play, which is kind of funny, which then led to me learning a little bit about Black MIDI, which is basically MIDI that if you wrote it out on a score, the whole page would turn to black. I'm sure Frank Zappa would approve. Uh, and the whole thing is just kind of funny. It's like music that you couldn't really possibly play as a human being, but like these machines can play it for you. And I guess it's just part of the evolution of technology and music. And while I don't necessarily have that goal of making things sound unrealistic, I do think it's cool and I respect it as an artistic impetus to just push the boundaries of sounds and sort of just experiment and maybe come up with something really cool. So anyway, pushing boundaries for the sake of pushing boundaries is not all bad. But yeah, it was just kind of bizarre. The music is bizarre, and it's not, you know, like what you would put on to like relax or chill out if you're like most people. Maybe some people would. But yeah, I just took a short break, had a little bit of food, and I'm just slowly easing into the drum practice here. I'm probably going to go pretty light. I'll see how I feel. Again, my goal is just to kind of get back in the groove and not push myself too hard. So let's do it. drum practice. It's been a really long time, so it was just great to kind of get back in the flow, and just felt really good. I definitely felt like I had more gas in the tank, which is a really good sign, but I did just, cut it off pretty fast. I probably did about a third or half of what I would usually do. And I just, like I said, want to ease into things and just take it slowly. And it was good, overall success. So I just went through my warm-up routine, extended things a little bit, improvised a little bit, and that was it. So now I'm going to get in on the production front. I don't have a lot of energy today, so I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm probably going to play around with some of the horn lines and then maybe just call the session a little early. Again, just kind of get back in the groove. I mean, the next step is to pick up the guitar and start to track some of the variations on the current themes that I have. I have like a bass theme that opens the song, and I want to do some variations on that before I get into like the main theme of the verse. So I think the smartest move right now is to sketch that rather than trying to do a final take of everything as I go through the song, and then sketch out the big picture of the song with some scratch tracks, and then go back systematically and make everything perfect. Sort of like you would if you were making a commercial album where you would demo out all the songs and then you would go in the studio and refine and perfect everything. And I think that makes a little more sense than going linearly through the song, because that way I can organize my thoughts based on a bigger picture view. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. I've never really tried anything like that before. So here we go. Alright, I was just playing around with a couple different ideas to try to double up some trumpets. It wasn't sounding super good unless I separated them by octaves, so I think I might have to work with the panning or something like that. But I also realized there's ways to set up unison sections in the actual software, and I really haven't read any of the documentation on it. I've just been kind of messing around. So part of that was because one of the links was broken, but they fixed it for me. So that'll be my next priority next time I sit down on the production front tomorrow, is getting into the literature on that program so that I can start to get the sounds out that I want. And then I think it makes sense to start sketching things out from there. So good learning experience, hitting some walls, making new mistakes. That's what it's all about, just kind of failing forward, stumbling forward, and hopefully arriving at something great with a lot of facility with this instrument as I go. It's a little bit painstaking, the learning process at the beginning, but I think I'm going to get up and running, and I think the results are going to be quite good when they ultimately do come. So just want to thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys are out there grinding toward your goals, enjoying the process as much as possible, and just enjoying the ride. We got one shot at life, and it's not all fun and games, but I really do think it's all what you make of it. So that's what I'm trying to do. Hopefully you guys can help me out and give me some of your own perspectives along the way. Otherwise, I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. I'm happy I got back in the groove with my session. It wasn't an ideal session in many respects, but it's a lot better than zero. And I feel like I can kind of crank back up tomorrow, and that was kind of my goal for today. So anyway, guys, thanks for bearing with me as things kind of got sidetracked. I'll see you guys tomorrow.